Hey, I think we're there. Maybe. Maybe. Come on, YouTube. You can do it. Come on. All right, there we are. All right, and we are live. Welcome to Talking Heads, everyone. Episode 164, your once-weekly live show for the latest in beer and tech news. I'm Jeff.
I'm Rhett.
Thank you so much for joining us on this New Year's Eve, or if you're in Australia, New Year's Eve officially, since some of you are already at New Year's Eve parties, because you like to get a jump start on things. If you've never seen the show before, we talk beer, we talk tech, we talk games, pop culture, entertainment, usually some Star Trek, and especially tonight, because, well, there's really not a lot of news to talk about. This is usually always kind of a dead week for news, and here we are again. Be aware that we do drink alcohol on the show, however, we do keep it family-friendly in both language and content. All super chats are read on the air, so long as they meet those family-friendly criteria. And if you'd like to take part in the super secret chat and the even more super secret after party, think about joining the Float Plane or Patreon. Links are both down in the video description. You'll get exclusive access to the Discord server where you can talk with myself, Rhett, Steve, John, all the hosts from Talking Heads, and take part in the ever-growing community that's over there.
Well
or
done.
You can catch us on replay on anchor.fm or wherever your fine podcasts are found. There we go. I always forget the podcast one.
Well, you know, it's relatively new, and we got a total boss handling it for us. So,
We do.
It's easy to forget because it's problem free.
I don't have to touch it. It's amazing. Jeff, I heard you like Image Day. No, I don't like Image Day. For 8 years around my office, there was one phrase that I would often repeat, and that was, I hate New Image Day. And what did I decide to do for my last two videos? Build a Windows deployment server and build a new Windows image. And it sucked just as much as I remembered. But if it helps take the pain and frustration out of someone else's week, I'm still sort of happy to do it. I can't say that I'm happy about it because that process still sucks. But hopefully it helps someone else.
Here's our fingers crossed.
Yep. All right. How you doing, Rhett?
Doing okay. Anxious to get this year out of the way, closed out.
Yes. More so than usual. More so than a lot of other years.
Yeah, you know, I feel like we all said this in 2019 and maybe even every other year before that. But like, this is one, you know I'm not going to wake up come January and everything's going to be fixed.
Right.
I know that.
But this year there's a possibility.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and it's just one of those, you couple in the gloomy days, the early nights up here where we are, and
Yep.
yeah, you just run out of gas early.
Yeah.
Me and Jeff were just talking. It's like, man, I fell asleep on the floor earlier.
Yep.
I guess that's life in this side of my 30s, I guess now. So
yeah. Welcome to the 30s, by the way.
thank you. I was trying to figure out a way to shoehorn that in.
Yeah.
I kind of forgot about it, but
Yeah. No, it sneaks up on you. It really does.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this year has been really weird because in some ways it's been just and for a lot of people, it's been one hit after the other after the other. It's been, separation from friends and family. It's been a lot of job loss. It's been a lot of hardships really to go all around.
Yeah.
In the meantime, I also had one of the best years of my life.
Yep.
I mean, I still had some of those hardships and I still miss my friends, but we didn't hit the financial hardship over here. And I even quit my job. I started talking about resigning in January, like to my boss. As soon as I got back from CES, I went, I might, I think I'm gonna look for an exit here pretty soon. And then February, we got news of like COVID out of China and whatnot, and then it started hitting Europe really hard in early March, and then a couple weeks later, Oregon shut down, and I think it was maybe a week later, he goes, "You still thinking about quitting?" I said, "I'm still thinking about quitting." And we made it like to like May, and we're like in the midst of like hard lockdown in Oregon, like shelter in place level lockdown. And he goes, "Are you still thinking you want to like dive in on your own and not have this, steady 8 to 5 job?" And I went, "Yeah, actually.
Get me out of here."
So yes, I left my stable 13-year career in the midst of a global pandemic to make videos for YouTube. But
hey, doesn't get better than that, Work from home, living the dream.
and sometimes it just works that way. Sometimes your luck is better than those around you, and this was one of those years for me. Although I know a lot of people are very down on their luck this year. I know quite a few people who have lost jobs, been laid off. They're making half as much as they did last year.
Yeah.
It's tough all around.
Well,
it really is.
I've always heard it said in a lot of sectors that that there is money in misery, which is kind of like a really crappy saying. But when there's big crises like this, there is lots of opportunity for people to expand their careers.
If you're in the right industry or you find a job at that time, yes.
And I don't mean to, I'm not trying to take away from anybody's struggles or anything like that.
Absolutely not.
Because obviously it's not going to be that way for every single person across the board, but there are opportunities out there for many people to expand their careers or jump into a new field or learn something new or whatever it might be. And
so sorry, real quick, Kenny chimed in and said, "Please help. I have a Goose Island 2019 and a 2020. Which one should I drink?" And I'm assuming you're talking a Bourbon County Stout, and I'm assuming you're talking just the standard bottle. If you're drinking just the standard bottle, I would drink the 2019. I think the 2020 would do well with a little bit of aging. Like it's really good. But man, that one's going to smooth out even nicer. Like 2020 has been one of the best ones since like 2017 was another like phenomenal year, and 2020 is there as well. But if you age this 2020, and by the way, they only made like a quarter of their normal amount, and they limited the distribution to very much the Illinois area. If you can hold on to one of those, you could trade that bottle for literally anything you want in the future. Whereas the 2019 is not nearly as valuable. So if it were me, I'd open the 2019. There you go.
Good advice.
Speaking of opening some beers, you got a beer?
I got a beer.
I have a beer as well.
I also have a glass of bourbon.
Oh, there you go.
That I wanted to toast to the new year and toast to craft computing and this leg of your career, and toast all of our fans. And
thank you.
And on to new and better and
new and more
bigger.
Exciting and bigger. Definitely bigger. Hopefully bigger.
Yeah. Well, cheers to you on that, friend. Cheers to you all at home.
What bourbon you drinking? I say as you're taking the drink.
Yeah, I'm drinking Bullet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. So I started these beers from a very good friend of the channel, Novella Hub. He's over on the Patreon. Thank you so much, Novella Hub, for sending these over. But I drank the first two of them. So I had the Herd of Turtles original, and then I had the barrel-aged version 1. And then like Thanksgiving came and I stopped drinking. So now I have the final bottle in Herd of Turtles version 2 from Shakopee Brewing. So this is an imperial stout loaded with pecan, cocoa nibs, and vanilla. And the first one was like really, really good. The second one was blowing my mind. And so I have really high expectations for this beer. Now it is a full 750 ml, and it is 12.1%. So tonight I have a beer. because
Nice.
I don't think I can make it through more than that tonight.
Yeah, I do not blame you.
So, like some days, yeah, I could probably, have another thing on the back end. Tonight, no. All right, let's get this
Nothing
wax
wrong with
seal off
that.
here. Yep. There's nothing wrong at all with moderation. Although I say moderation with, I'm only going to have the 750 mil 12.1 stout.
Make sure y'all let us know what you're drinking in the chat.
Yes.
Got lots of good stuff I've seen.
And I think we had a super chat a second ago. I'll scroll back up to that one here in just a sec.
Yeah. Super chat from Dan. $2. Thank you, Dan. He says, first time here.
Woo!
Love your song. Once in a lifetime.
I didn't know I had a song.
I wasn't sure what he meant either.
Come and knock on our door.
I'll
be waiting for you. Yeah.
I can never
Who
remember
knows?
the lyrics, sorry. Also, I got these really cool cocktail glasses for Christmas.
Ooh, gold rims.
Oh
Nice.
yeah, and a little holiday
nice.
theme. You got some holly and.
Oh yeah,
So,
I like those.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, the frosted holly on there. Yeah, it's actually really nice. I've been using every excuse possible to drink out of them.
I do that with all my glasses. So I did have a comment earlier on. Jeff, have you ever used Fog? And Fog is in reference to an open source Pixie Boot system for installing both Windows Win images as well as Linux distros. I've heard of it and I've seen it run. I really have no experience with it myself. We were probably about an 85 to 90% Windows Enterprise environment, and the other 9% was Mac and maybe 1% Linux, and that 1% was like for me and my network guy. So, we never bothered putting anything together because we always just preferred to roll our own install on whatever we were doing that day. We didn't have a standardized Linux install that we had to push out. But I'm definitely interested in giving that a whirl. But as I have no experience, there are some things that I like to cover when I don't have experience with, like enterprise cloud gaming solutions. That's a lot of fun to dive in and have everyone laugh at me of how little I know, because none of you know anything either. I'm generalizing. There's like 2 people who do, but yeah,
Are they here?
To watch me go through the slog of the NVIDIA licensing server and all the requirements to get it up and going and the dependencies upon layers of dependencies, only to get like 24 frames per second in Crysis. Like, man, that video had a payoff. But there are other aspects that I'm not an expert in, that I try to leave those topics for other experts. I don't want to muddy the waters, just even as an enthusiast coming in. I don't think I'll ever do a video on pfSense because I had other people manage pfSense for me. I know what pfSense is. I've gotten in there and I've changed routing and changed firewall rules, and I understand firewall rules, but I'm not the authority for how to set up a pfSense box in an enterprise environment and have it be safe and secure. And I certainly don't feel like my tutorial would be the one you'd want to follow if that's what you're aiming for. I'd rather leave that to people who deal with pfSense every day or deal with firewalls in general every day. Now, internal networking, as far as switching and everything else, I'm totally golden there. But there's a couple topics that I don't want to be seen as a point of authority on, because then you get called into question on things. Whereas for Windows deployment services, I am certified to use Windows deployment services to push out Windows Vista. That is one of my certifications. Windows Vista, Windows deployment services. Yep. Luckily, it actually hasn't changed all that much since the Vista days, except they include a lot more crap you need to strip out of Windows 10. But
personally, I prefer that they know what I'm doing, where I'm doing it. I prefer that they listen into my conversations and that they use that to push better ads to me.
Yeah, I'm wondering if we can just talk about something that we never talk about tonight and see if we get ads for it tomorrow morning.
We probably would.
I know.
But
I
what's
know.
something we never talk about, though?
Yeah. Boy, I don't know actually.
Bird watching.
Bird watching.
You ever go bird watching?
I was just thinking I need to get a good set of binoculars, maybe some Nikon or Bushnell.
No. You want to go Leica.
Leica? Ooh, it's hard to poo-poo Leica. Although when it comes to binocs, I'm actually a little bit more of a Nikon fan. So,
I don't blame you. Yeah, Nikon's got some pretty good glass there. I've got some Vortex somewhere around here. Not too bad.
All right, let's get a couple of drink shout-outs going in here. Let's see. Novella Hub says he's drinking a Shakopee Brewhall beer. So he's got a Shakopee over there as well. Magic Rat got a Glenlivet 15. Excellent.
Nice.
I love their 12. I one of my standard bottles of scotch that I usually have on hand is the Glenlivet 12. But the 15 is really, really good too. Let's see. JoJo's drinking a Cincinnati IPA from Rheingeist. Awesome. Let's see. Patrick, bourbon, that's the ticket.
Yes, it is. Choo choo.
Let's see. I early up in the chat, I had a good morning from Europe. Where was that from? It was early on in the chat. Oh, good morning from Europe. It's ITZ. It's good morning Europe. Good morning.
Cheers.
Good evening from the West Coast. Let's see. If I missed you, I'm sorry. I'm not looking that hard. Cold Strife drinking Cold Zero. Gene's got a bottle of wine. We can't leave it at that. You got to tell us what wine you're drinking. Like, bottle of Coke, sure, it's bottle of Coke, but you can't just say Gatorade and leave us guessing. I don't know if it's a good one like, Glacier Cherry, or like a bad one like the Cool Blue G2. Maybe it's knockoff Gatorade and you're drinking Powerade.
The Powerade's not bad if you drink yellow.
Yeah. Yeah.
I developed a weird taste for yellow Powerade over the years.
All right.
That and homemade Mexican breakfast burritos. That was my go-to standard breakfast meal for like 3 years. Yellow Powerade, handmade breakfast burrito with one packet of hot sauce because they were cheapskates. You learned how to make that hot sauce last.
Yeah. Purple Pillow will hit all of your social media. Actually, I have a purple bed that I paid money for, and a purple pillow. That was Rhett actually helped me carry it in.
I did. Yeah.
How heavy was that SOB?
Actually, you made it sound like it was going to be really bad. I was actually kind of surprised by how easy it was.
Yeah, it opened up really easy. Getting it in the house was a bit of a chore.
Yeah.
It weighs about as much as like 4 body bags. I know that's a weird reference, but
depends on who's in them.
Yeah, exactly.
4 body bags.
Lately my go-to breakfast has been doing just egg muffins. I do English muffin with egg on it, and so an egg McMuffin. But no, we last year for Christmas I got a double egg McMuffin maker, and so you put the English muffin bottoms in, you close one of the panels on it, you crack an egg straight into it, you close it, you let it cook for like 2 minutes, you open it up, you put another muffin top on top, or cheese or sausage or whatever you want, let it cook another minute, and you got egg McMuffins, and they're perfect.
Nice.
So,
I used to do that in my toaster oven, but
yep.
But
yeah. Well, I used to have like the little silicone egg thing that you'd put on the stove, and I got really good at doing that. But no, having this is it's a breeze. It takes 1 minute to preheat it is all, and you're eating within 6. It's perfect. And it's actually Mrs. My daughter, my oldest daughter. That's her breakfast of choice too. So usually when I wake up in the mornings now, I make us each an English muffin.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah,
that's a fun little ritual.
Yeah. So I don't think this one's quite as good as version 1. It's still really good. Like, it's still a barrel-aged imperial cocoa and pecan stout. Like, it's good. I don't want to come off as too negative on this. It's not quite as smooth. There's a little bit of harshness right at the back. It tastes a little bit more booze forward than the version 1 did. Although I am getting a little bit more of a richer note, especially like the earthy, like the pecans are really coming through. Whereas I got a lot more chocolate and coffee with the version 1. So these are definitely two different blends, but this one's really good too. But one was better.
Perfect. My bullet tastes like bullet. Super solid staple bourbon. What are you gonna do?
Oh, Bullet Bourbon's great. I usually buy the Bullet Rye in the 1.75 mil. And I've got a little one that I refill, so I can keep that one upstairs, and I've got the big one downstairs in case that one ever runs out.
Oh, nice, smart. Yeah, it's a staple for sure.
Yeah. Overclock the Egg McMuffin maker. Could be your fire truck video Lime Linus. Is someone saying make a video review of the Egg McMuffin maker? Because I'll put that on the Patreon. I'll totally do that.
That'd be a good video.
I'll review that. I'll review that tomorrow morning. It's a double too, so you can make 2 at a time. It's great. And in fact, my dad was over for Christmas this last weekend, and first time I'd seen him in like 6 months, and he was telling me how every morning when he wakes up now, because they just bought like 40 acres and he retired, and so he's got nothing better to do. He goes, I've been making myself breakfast every morning, which is something I only did on the weekends. And he goes, what I've been really digging right now is I'm making like English muffin sandwiches. And I went, yeah, we do that too. That's cool. And he goes, yeah. So I get the egg all ready, and I said, well, I've got this maker. I've got a double, and it's really neat. And then I remembered I actually got 2 for Christmas last year. I got a single and I got a double.
Nice.
Because 2 people bought, and so I gave him the single, and so now he's rocking the new little machine too.
God, you just made his day.
I did.
That's awesome. I don't have any new cute breakfast rituals.
No.
I make coffee and then I rush out the door to go to my miserable office job.
Yeah.
Or I leave a little piece of my soul every time.
Who knows? Maybe we'll have to fix that for you in the next year.
Hey, that'd be really great. Really great. Wink, wink.
If you want to see Rhett start doing my video editing for me, and God, I sure would like it, make sure to subscribe to the Patreon or the Float Plan. Links are down in the video description.
Yeah. He's also taking Venmo tonight. Just kidding.
Join Rhett's OnlyFans.
It's a live stream of me editing videos and nothing but my skivvies.
It isn't a work day if you don't die a little.
That's true.
Anyway, as I alluded to early on, we don't have a lot to talk about tonight. So I'm glad our conversation went into egg muffins, because that was really, really fun. But what do you guys want to talk about tonight? Barring you guys having any good ideas, I was thinking maybe we'll just go back on maybe some of our news stories, our favorite news stories from the year. Maybe a little bit of a year in review for the channel. So what do you guys want to see? Is it the Hamilton Beach one? I think it's a Hamilton Beach. I'd have to look.
He's already floundering. This is going to be an interesting video, Jeff.
Yeah.
I mean, you already said you don't like to make videos of things you're not an expert on, and
right.
Are you an expert on?
I like to consider myself an expert on English muffin sandwiches.
An egg spurt?
An egg spurt.
Got him. How about this? I'll put this out for the masses. A little survey here. So every Tuesday night, I've been having an old-fashioned game night, if you will. And by old-fashioned, I mean.
So if everyone wants, sorry to interrupt you. If everyone wants to see the egg muffin maker that I use, I just put an affiliate link down in the chat. So there you go. And it was the Hamilton Beach.
Oh, nice.
Well spotted, sir. Anyway, you were making an old-fashioned. I apologize.
Not old-fashioned. Get out of here. If you guys want to give me your your classic game night, video game night recommendations for that classic LAN party feel. List them in the chat. I've been doing Tuesday night game nights. We kind of went through and did some classics. We played some Unreal Tournament 2004. We've played the classic Star Wars Battlefront 2. We've played Counter-Strike.
I love Battlefront 2.
Oh,
Such
man,
a
it's
good
so
game.
good. The only issue we had when we played it was that we couldn't create a private match we couldn't figure out how to allow more than 4 players. So we had to jump in and play online.
Yeah, I think you can do a hosted private server and you can then up the count. But I think if you're running just the game client, you can only do a private match over with 4.
That makes sense.
And so I think you have to run a dedicated server, which next time you want to do it, let's talk. Let's see if we can figure something out.
That'd be fun. Because our idea was we had, I don't know, like 12 people for that night. And we were just going to shut off bots and maybe like play Conquest or something, But we couldn't quite figure it out. We just played Halo last night, Derek. So that was
love CE. So good.
Man. So I was also really surprised. We went through because when you install the Halo Master Chief Collection, Halo Reach is like the default install. And I was so against it, but we ended up playing it while we were waiting for other people to finish installing CE and Halo 2 and stuff. And holy crap, like Reach ended up being really good. Like I had no idea. So it was really fun to go back through though and visit CE and visit Halo 2 and stuff like that. So we had a lot of fun with Halo. That ended up, man, the sheer amount of game modes in Halo alone makes it like the perfect LAN game. Like it really reminded me of Unreal in that way. Like
for my bachelor party, I had a bunch of guys over and we played Halo. We had a giant Halo LAN party, and that's all we did for like 12 hours.
That sounds so fun.
Yeah. It was great. And this was 2006, so we all hauled CRTs over, like 27-inch TVs and Xbox, original Xboxes, and landed them all together and played Halo because I was the only one who had network switches, and put them all into my 1-bedroom apartment. We had 10 guys there, I think.
That's awesome. So that's perfect.
It was great.
One time my parents were gone when I was in high school, and our big thing was poker nights and Halo. And so we brought a bunch of people over and we played Halo. Yeah. And you remember my friend Taylor from Game Dev's Quest?
Oh, yeah.
Well, he was late to the night, and I think he had high expectations of the night. He just got off work and he came in, and we'd already been playing for like an hour. So we're warmed up, we're loose. So we're just like taking him to task. Normally he's a competitor, he's a contender for the top. We're just taking him to task, and he starts getting really worked up. And I'm trying to be all like good spirited. I'm like, dude, like, we've got to warm up. Like, don't worry about it. It'll come around. And he just starts cussing him. He's like, dude, shut up. Just shut up. And I'm a little
stupid controller.
Yeah. So I started just like antagonizing him a little bit. Just he yelled at me and cussed at me so loud that the cops were called on us.
That's
and
awesome.
He's like the most chill, relaxed person of all time.
Yeah.
But American Cosworth here says, Rep, my dog either dislikes you or really likes you. Check Talking Heads for proof. And I did. And
further up in the Discord, he says, my dog is watching the stream on a 175 hertz monitor, and she really does not like it when Rhett talks. It's hilarious.
I think she likes it.
I think she likes it.
I don't know what it is, but dogs are obsessed with me. I do not normally go out of my way to like be nice to dogs. I mean, I love dogs, obviously, but like there are so many dogs whom I have a personal, like, neutral relationship with, and I may as well be like God to them. Like my brother's dog. I am not necessarily nice or go out of my way to like spoil that dog, and she just thinks the sun shines straight out my butt. She like cries when I'm at the door. It's adorable. Command and Conquer, that's a good recommendation too. AoE 2 is on the list. We'll probably
AoE
have to
2
hit that.
is usually high on my list.
Yeah.
You got to get an OG StarCraft match in every once in a while too.
That's not a bad idea. I was trying to figure that out. It's hard to. Some of these games were kind of limited by player count, and I really like having sort of an open lobby type game where people can jump in, jump out, and so like 16 players seems to be kind of the sweet spot for that. We've been playing some games that are lower. Like we've been playing a lot of Rocket League, which like private Rocket League is just so fun. Yeah.
So good. Me and some friends a couple years ago took over a barcade down in Eugene, and we had 3-on-3 Rocket League going with all of my friends down there. And it was incredible because so this is an arcade and bar, and so you can go and have a shot and a beer and then go sit down, and we had commandeered the like 120-inch projection screen, and so there were 6 of us playing.
That's awesome.
It was great.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, there's something super magical about Rocket League. In fact, we used to LAN all the time when I was in high school, and one of our we did a lot of mods, and Carball was a mod for Unreal Tournament 2004 that was like super addicting and fun, and it was Rocket League. And so when Rocket League came out, I was like, I have been talking about Carball for years. This is amazing. And yeah, the gameplay is so tight and fun.
Yep. Rocket League is one of my favorite games, just to like sit down and play for 20 minutes.
Yeah,
like,
and you can. That's the best part about it.
Right, that's the best part, is you can jump into a game, play 2 or 3 matches, and then get up and go about your day.
Yeah,
it's not so engrossing that.
Right.
I mean, it's engrossing. I can play for 6 hours, but.
God. Well, the other day I sat down because I finally figured out how to link my PlayStation account with my Epic account on my PC.
Epic.
Well, yeah, I know. But Rocket League is there, and it's free now. So it's like, okay, I'll link it to my computer. I'll figure this all out. And finally figured it out. So I hopped on and was playing. And, of course, I haven't played in so long. I was unranked. So I was doing 1v1 competitive games. And yeah, man, like went through just like dominating, got ranked platinum, whatever the bottom platinum is. And I was like, wow, I am so good at this. And then I played last night with my brother doing doubles, and we lost like every game we played. I was like, oh man, I was doing so good in solo, but I think it's just because people never play solo, and I've got to be like the one person that does.
Yeah.
But I love competitive games, but you play Dota 2 and you've got an hour down the drain. You play Counter-Strike Go, you've got an hour down the drain.
Yeah.
There's something so fun about the way games are set up in those scenarios. People who are trying and are taking it serious and have the time commitment and things like that.
Yes.
But it's a huge time commitment, and then at least for me, I had to stop playing as much competitive games like that because you lose a couple games, man, you get tilted and your whole day just turns upside down. Like, it became kind of like obsessive for me.
That's a big reason I gave up most online gaming. Yeah. I was big into online gaming late 90s, early 2000s, and all the way until probably 2008, 2009. Around that time, something I think shifted. It either shifted in me or it shifted in everyone else. In that it stopped being fun and it started being just the competition.
Yeah.
And I saw this in the StarCraft community, first and foremost, because I played a lot of StarCraft. I played a lot of Dark Forces 2 Jedi Knight on some Assassin mod, total conversions for like modern weapons. So it's like we were playing Call of Duty years before you guys were. But I remember this shift when StarCraft 2 came out, because StarCraft, you would play the game and one match would last 45 minutes to an hour, and it was about army building and taking over the map, and it was really like juggernauts going at it. And what StarCraft 2 became, even though it's the same mechanics, is the player base went straight to sneak attacks, getting like 2 Zerglings into your base to
rushes and stuff.
Yeah, just the 1 or 2 unit rushes to kill your inventory early, and then matches are like 7 minutes long. It's like I can't even get halfway through my development tree in 7 minutes.
Yeah.
So what's the point?
I think that's the rise of esports. So I think
And
it
yeah, that
is.
happened around that same time too.
Yeah,
Was esports started
it's partially
becoming what
you.
it is.
It's partially you because
Mhm.
I have the same exact reaction that you're describing. So
By the way,
I
Cloud
think it.
Strife, I see your super chat. I'll get to you in just a second because I do want
Oh,
to give that one
sorry.
a little time. No, you're good.
Um, so I do think it's partially you because I feel the same exact way, and it feels like me. But it's also the rise of esports, and me. It's like my reaction to that, like because you used to be able to play StarCraft, and yeah, there were strategies and
Hmm.
things like that, but the meta changed so much slower.
Yep.
And so when you had your strategy, you could really lock in good things, good builds, good
Hmm.
things like that. But then esports, and all of a sudden, I mean, they are min maxing the game. They're
Yeah.
optimizing the game. It's about APM all of a
Right.
sudden. And I
Right.
remember when people were like criticizing my APM when I was playing the game, I was like, oh, this game's not for me.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and I never quite got that feeling with Dota 2. And I don't know quite why. Like, I
Hmm.
mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just because I was much more able to keep up with the meta and I enjoyed it and things like that. Whereas StarCraft was so much further away from
Hmm.
my I don't know field of view. But that is part of it. It's like, oh man, like I mean, I remember when the fast push strats came out in Dota 2, and a game's supposed to last like an hour, and these guys would be pushing and destroying your ancient in 15 minutes with
Yeah.
these, and which is a great strategy if you're prepared for it and the meta and you're playing a draft. And okay, you see them getting those heroes. Well, you're going to counter draft. You're going to get these people to stop that or do this or do that, and then maybe you cancel their fast push strategy and you can carry in the late game. And that's like, so there's stuff to it like that, but it's a lot harder to counter in StarCraft if you don't know what they're doing because
Yeah.
there's not 100 different heroes. There's you know three factions and
Mhm.
handful of different builds within each faction. I don't know. So anyway, the point
Yeah.
being is that I think the rise of esports really changed the field of competitive games.
Right. And StarCraft was one of the ones that really brought to the forefront esports
Yeah,
gaming
for sure.
because of how big it was in Korea. And then because it got huge in Korea, it started getting huge in the US. It was
Oh
StarCraft
yeah.
was and still in some cases is one of the largest, worldwide events as far as tournaments go.
Oh yeah.
Um and but it was right at that dawn of StarCraft 2 where all of a sudden it wasn't just like the top level players who were trying to be uber competitive and actions per minute
It
and
was
things like
everybody.
that. It was everyone.
Yeah.
And that to me is when StarCraft stopped being fun
Yeah.
because I don't have 30 hours a week to grind in
Yeah.
StarCraft to learn my strats and everything else. I know the trees by heart. Like the tech trees, they're ingrained in my brain. But I was about building out, getting siege tanks, getting, like
Yeah.
actually building an army.
And you
Not
wanted to
just
play a beautiful game.
right. I wanted to play a beautiful game, and I wanted both of us to have full 200 unit armies and see who comes out better because of your strategy, not because of who blew up my SCVs first.
Yeah.
That's what I want. And like I said, it was right around that 2006, 2008 time. Number one, I had less time to play games. Number two, the strategy just changed top to bottom.
Yeah.
Anyway, Cloud Strife, $5 donation. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Quick question. I assist a class for student learning A Plus and Network Plus. I would like to set up an online Active Directory environment. Best way, low cost to freeway. The biggest question is, do you have, well, number one, how many students and how many like nodes do you need to connect to? You can do Active Directory kind of open to the internet. You'd have to have an authoritative DNS server, which Active Directory could serve as, so people could actually find your domain and join it. There is some risk to having Active Directory exposed to the internet as a host. There's people who will try to attack you, so make sure your firewall and security is locked down before you open an Active Directory server to the net. But there are ways to do that. If you wanted an internal system, you can actually spin up a virtual machine with versions of 2019 server. Says about 40 tops on students. Okay, so are you thinking each student would have their own Active Directory client? And are you wanting them to get a grips with Active Directory, or are you wanting them to have like file access within the Active Directory system or get certain policies? Um, because if you were just trying to get them familiar with the Active Directory system, you could set up a bunch of virtual machines on a server and give them remote access to that way easier, so it becomes a LAN environment instead of a WAN environment. Versus if you want them to connect their own machines to your AD server, that gets a little bit more complicated. So even with 40 students, I'm assuming you might have 15 at a time that are online. You could do that with a single, X99 dual server, or even a single X99 server, something with 12 cores or even 16 cores. And you can do that pretty inexpensive, trying to replicate a corp environment. Okay. What you're going to want to do in that environment then is, I would say, set it up completely as a virtual machine LAN network and allow them access to remote in to manage that network. And so you would basically set up a lab and then give them some form of remote access. You know what? Actually, Guacamole would probably work really well for that. Check out my server on, or my video on managing servers with Guacamole, because you can define access rights for each student. You can give each student essentially either their own virtual machine that they have remote access to, or a group of machines that they have access to. You can replicate a corporate environment within your own LAN and keep it nice and secure, and then delegate out remote access rights to your students. Just password and or username and passwords. So something like that would be no person PC used on their end. Okay, so I'm assuming you want like an internal LAN environment. Yeah, check out my video on setting up Guacamole. It's a remote desktop client that's basically just a web server that you can open that server up to the web just with HTTPS, and then they can remote into that server and then remote into clients within your LAN environment. And so if you set up a bunch of virtual machines and each of those can join an Active Directory domain, you can see how group policy propagates, and they can learn to manage it. That's how I would go. Just spitballing, but that's how I would do it in a situation like that.
So I opened a beer.
Yep. Ooh, what'd you open?
From my hometown, from the Benedictine Brewery. Tyrant Cascadian Dark Ale. Yeah, we got that right there. Perfect.
Yeah, there you go.
Ba-da-ba-bum. Cascadian Dark Ale. Yeah, it's really good. Malty. It really reminds me of just like a, you know what, like a, almost like an Amberbach, something like that. It's got a very light, crisp body, just with a full, rich flavor. It's not too bad. I got a case of, well, I got two cases. I got a case of this Tyrant Cascadian Dark Ale, and I got a case of their other, I think it's a, I don't know what it is. Some sort of strong ale, maybe. But called the Black Habit. And they're really good. And I don't think that they're necessarily available many places, but for those of you guys in the Pacific Northwest, I saw some people talking about Portland, and I think American Cosworth was talking about Ski and Bachelor and things like that. If you're ever on a road trip and you're going through Mount Angel, Oregon, they got a really good tasting room with some really good food options. I really recommend it. Their beer's not, it's not mind blowing, but it's really solid. And I really kind of appreciate the tradition that they try to keep of, monks brewing beer, that's like an old school medieval thing. And, I think it's pretty neat. I grew up right at the foot of that abbey, and kind of cool to see him, doing stuff like that. So
Yep.
Good beer, 7.2. So it's, fairly strong.
Yeah.
But it's flavorful and not too thick, not too heavy.
Nice. Now, Benedictine's one of those ones, I don't know that I've ever had a bad beer from them. And You can only get it there. You can only get it at the brewery because it's brewed there in the Abbey, and they sell it there in the Abbey.
Yeah.
And it's pretty fantastic. Now there are a couple of bottle shops who will go and buy a couple of cases of it, and so I can. It's shown up at Capital Market a couple of times, and there's a couple other places around town that'll get it, but it's very, very rare, and it's usually like, we have these 6 bottles.
Yeah, they do. They do. They make kegs for the Mount Angel Oktoberfest, which is our huge event there. I think it's like the 2nd or 3rd largest event in the state of Oregon every single year. So if you guys want to go and see a cool Oktoberfest, they obviously canceled it this last year because how could you not? But when it comes back, they have kegs of this stuff ready to go, and you can listen to cool live polka music and drink some awesome monk beer.
Mount Angel Oktoberfest is always incredible.
Yeah, I've been to 30 of them. Well, no, 29 because they canceled the last one. Wow, that's really depressing.
Yeah.
But
and most of the events that I was planning on going to next year have already been canceled.
Yeah, I bet.
Yep. So, yeah, I don't know that I'm going to get on a plane again until 2022. And honestly, that was one of the coolest perks of this thing that I'm doing here, was getting to travel, because I've never gotten to travel before.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I'm going full time, and it's like, yeah, it's going to be another 2 years before you get to jump on a plane again.
You know what though? Things go back to normal, and we go to the safest COVID-free country on the planet. We fly to Taiwan, baby. We should go to Computex.
Yes.
That'd be fun.
I was going to go to Computex. I was going to go to LTX. I was going to go to QuakeCon again. We were obviously going to go to CES again. I had a lot of travel plans for 2021 and for 2020. I was going to go to LTX. I was considering going to Taiwan, but right about the time I needed to buy tickets was like, oh, COVID is a thing, and I went, oh, I probably should wait. So I didn't.
Did they cancel CES for this year? I mean,
yeah. CES is online only this year.
It makes sense, but I just wasn't sure. I haven't kept up with. I don't look at stuff very closely because I don't want to be disappointed.
Yeah.
So
they better not cancel San Diego Comic-Con. Isn't that usually in June or July?
Is it?
I'm trying to remember when Comic-Con is.
I think it's in this. Yeah, I don't know.
It's in early to midsummer.
I've never been to San Diego Comic-Con, so
yeah. Level has the best labels. They absolutely do. Level Brewing.
Oh yeah,
they're all the retro gaming inspired labels. Yeah. They're Pac-Man, Mario, and Super Punch Out, and all kinds of great stuff.
Oh, that was the last event I went to. Was the Portland Retro Gaming Expo in 2019. That was like the last big thing I went to. Well, I went to a concert last January, but
yeah.
But as far as like big.
Yeah, my last time on a plane was getting off the plane from CES this year. My last time.
My last time on a plane though was also CES.
I'm trying to.
I went.
I know I haven't left the state since, but I'm trying to think. I've been up to Portland twice because I went to at least 2 or 3 times because we went to IKEA a couple times after we bought the new house, and we were settling in January and February. So I know I went up to IKEA a couple times then.
Yeah, you had to get your countertop.
Right, had to get the countertops, and no, we had the countertops built in December before I left. And so I went up there. I remember to get a chair and a couple other odds and ends in like February, and then I think we went up there again in August. I think August or September, and we got a couple more things. But yeah, Scott says it's in July, and I wouldn't hold my breath for San Diego Comic-Con. And yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm already hearing they're not even planning on doing LTX again for 2021. It's not going to be another thing till 2022 because all of these large events, they take a year to plan. Do you realize CES has like 80 full-time employees that their only job is to plan for CES for the 4 days in Vegas? That's their job.
Yeah.
And it takes an entire year to set all that up. And I'm surprised they waited as late as they did to call it, because
Yeah.
like Computex was already talking like, no, we're not going to do 2021. And
but
then,
you know, that's Taiwan. I mean,
it's
they
Taiwan,
had like
right?
40 cases nationwide or
Right.
something last time I
Right.
looked, you know. It's
like they're going to let our asses in.
yeah, our passport ain't good anywhere.
Mm.
We can go to Mexico and Turkey last time I looked. So
Decisions.
I mean, hey, Istanbul is like super high on my list, but do I want to go right now with 2 countries to let us in?
Let's see, is Ergodon still in power? Yes.
Yeah. Wasn't there something about Turkey in the news last year? Just nonstop.
Right.
Quid pro quo or something. What were they talking about?
The genocide. Right.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God.
Ugh.
Life's depressing.
Yeah.
Mexico did block us, Javen, but
Yeah.
actually they really need tourism. So one of my coworkers just went to Cabo.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe it's limited. Maybe it's whatever. But
they realized they needed money less than COVID.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, when they shut down their borders, like they hit a massive depression, from my understanding. And anybody in the chat that has more knowledge about that, feel free to chime in. But
who would have known that Cabo and Tijuana are the majority of the tourism industry for Mexico?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so that's kind of unfortunate. Yeah, we couldn't even get into, because isn't LTX in Canada, or did I make that up?
It's in Canada. Yeah,
Vancouver or something.
Yeah, I couldn't get in. Well, I could get in, but you have to prove that you can quarantine for 2 weeks before you leave, or 2 weeks after you arrive. You have to, because I have friends and family up in Canada, and I had someone who was thinking about going, and they said, no. The only way you as an American citizen can come to visit Canada right now is if you fly in, you are driven straight to your hotel, and you have provided the Canadian government with proof that someone who lives in Canada will bring you your necessities, will bring you food so you can eat.
Good for them.
For 2 weeks. And they check on you.
I got in an argument with somebody on Twitter the other day.
Like, they'll knock on your door at any time. And
yeah,
are you still in your room? If you're not in your room, guess what? You're on the next plane out.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? You know, Canada is significantly smaller than the United States. Mm-hmm. What do they have? Do they have 20 million people?
They have like 45.
So Australia has 20 million. Canada.
Yeah, Australia's 20 million. I think Canada's like 45, maybe 48.
But okay, so maybe the math, I don't know, but they've had 10,000 deaths, which is not great at all.
Mm-hmm.
But after all this time, they have 10,000, and we have...
In the 2016 Canadian census has a total population of 35,151,728.
So, yeah, like per capita, I mean, look, it's still not the best stats, but it's just like, man, like they're just making hard decisions and sticking with it and doing so much better than we are. And it's kind of sad. I mean, it's so crazy, like that we went, you know, I think about it from travel all the time, because that's like one of my main hobbies. It's like we had the most powerful passport in the world, good in almost every country.
And now we have the passport that everyone goes, next.
Yeah. We have the weakest.
Yep.
I mean, it's crazy.
Comes down to leadership.
Yeah.
On that note, so someone earlier on said, Jeff, why don't you talk about your channel / your community? Because it's made a sucky year suck a little bit less. Which, number one, thank you for that compliment. Like seriously. There's always some joy that I get from people finding like bright spots because my community exists. And it happens so much more than I even get to hear. And it's freaking awesome. But anyway, a shout out to my community, to my Patreon and Floatplane members who are on the Discord and chat regularly. My Discord is freaking crazy. If you like well-run Discord servers and people who actually chat about things, And people who actually chat about things in an intelligent manner and don't let it get down to like petty arguments, name calling and stuff like that. There was, what was the chat that happened last week in the after show? So I got off the air and then I went over to the after show and I talked for like an hour and a half.
They were talking about communism
and socialism and all kind, like these are roads one does not travel
on the internet
in social discourse on the internet. And none of the moderators were around. And it turned out to be a lovely conversation, because in the morning I woke up with 5 different DMs from people saying, thank you for not shutting that conversation down. It was wonderful to talk to people who will both express an opinion and then listen to your own.
Yeah.
And not have it, degrade into left versus right or black, whatever. It was just nice. And whoa, well run.
Yeah, we got the mods in here just like,
yeah,
hey.
the mods are going, whoa, don't stop. Yeah. So I will say that I have a really freaking great community, and part of it is the mods that are in there. I have what I think is the best mod team ever.
I wonder to myself sometimes, I'm like, how did we end up with our mods?
Because they're awesome.
Yeah, I know, but like, it's just so crazy how long we've been at this now, and so many of like the early days are such a blur, and it's just like, I know Skull has been around forever.
Mm-hmm. Skull and Rev are 2 of my oldest patrons.
Rev has been.
By the way, they pay to be my mods. They're not on a free ride. They still get charged every month.
To be fair, I pay to get a host Talking Heads. So.
He does. Rhett's a patron too. John is getting a free ride. Okay. And I've always questioned that. Yeah, I know, right? John's a patron of frickin' Bite My Bits.
What?
Yeah, he patrons him.
But not you?
But not me. Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. Anyway, my community. I can't say enough good things about my community because it's amazing. And not just like they talk about good things, but they're well behaved. They're intelligent.
And there's an actual, like, one thing I've noticed over this whole year, there is a genuine concern and care for one another.
Yes.
Especially for the regulars that have been a part of it for so long.
We had a chat in the mod chat today about one particular user, and it's like, does someone maybe want to DM him and make sure he's okay? And we all had this discussion, and it was a long discussion about, we really like this guy, but we need to make sure that he's okay. He's good, right?
He's in a good place. Yeah.
Like we had that, we didn't have the discussion about, God, I can't wait to like freaking ban this one. Like we don't have those discussions at all. It's, man, this guy's feeling a little down. Do you think we could bump him up a little bit? Can someone reach out and DM him? And it's like, holy crap.
Yeah.
I have the best mod team ever.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how much more I can say on that. But if, and we don't just talk tech. We have a beer room. We have, John pimps it a lot better than I do, but we have a beer room. We have a movies and music room. We have a sick bay, and the sick bay is for COVID-19 talk. And it's actually devolved into a lot of politic talk, but it's a channel that I have not had to close because the conversations are all good and respectful.
Yep.
And it's freaking amazing. I don't know of another Discord that can have a political channel on it that is not a political channel and just an echo chamber and have it exist.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never seen one. But it's, to be fair, even the arguments here are pretty civilized and almost never get heated. I can think on one hand the number of times I've had to shut a conversation down, like we shouldn't have this here. Yeah. Or this isn't the right place for that. And like 3 of them were like over anime crap. It's like, we're not doing that here. But yeah, it's a great community. Now, speaking of my great community, I want to share a couple of things that the community got me for Christmas because it's freaking awesome.
Oh, yes.
Right. So first and foremost, I don't have any. Do I? Aha, I do. So we mentioned John and I mentioned that we would really like to try the Younglings Hershey's Special Reserve
This is
beer. So someone sent us a 4-pack. So each one of us is going to get one of these. And I really want to have a live show where we can open them together.
Yeah.
That's what I want. And so I think as soon as we can, like, open the doors again, we're going to celebrate with these.
Hell yeah.
I think we're going to have all 4 of us in studio and we're going to celebrate with this.
Hell yeah.
Because it's something we all wanted to try and we've all been waiting for. But the beer I'm drinking tonight, the Shake a Beat, this is like a $20 bottle. And this dude just like sends me a case a quarter. And it's amazing. And that's Novella Hub, and he's great. But I get beer all the. I can't remember the last time I drank a beer on the show that I bought myself.
Yeah, please rub it in how much I miss doing the in-person shows.
I know, right? But
between you and John, I was always so well taken care of.
Right. and some people even went out of their way to like heard something on the show and went, I bet I could help Jeff out with that. And so there's a great example of, I mentioned on one show when we were talking about the GPD Win 3 coming out that I've always wanted a device like that. Well, someone sent me one. Someone sent me a GPD Win. And I freaking love this thing.
So awesome.
I play this like almost every day. I really do. This is how I game remotely anymore. Is I used to like have my MacBook and I would parsec into my machines. Now I just carry this around and whenever I want a game, I can just open that up. It doesn't stop there. So someone the next week upped the ante and sent me a Win GPD 2. Right?
All right. Now somebody needs to up the ante and send
me a Win GPD Max. Like, who's got a GPD Max that they're not using? Come on,
guys. Reach out to your friends.
But no, 2 different people like reached out on consecutive weeks and said, "Yeah, I have one of those. I'm not using it. Can I send it to you?" And I went, like, that's incredible. And then the same person who sent me the first Win GPD said, hey, have you seen the new Retroid Pocket 2? Like, it should be a really good, like, little emulation portable system. And I went, yeah, I was actually just looking at that on Amazon. He goes, don't buy one because one's on its way. What?
God.
It's indigo. It's GameCube purple.
That's amazing.
Freaking awesome. And so I've been playing Game Boy Advance games on this, like, all week long.
What have you been playing?
Zelda Minish Cap.
Dude, isn't just Zelda so good all throughout the ages?
Minish Cap is such a lost gem. It is such a great game. I
never got to play much of. Because by the time I got my hands on it, I was really kind of phasing out of playing my Game Boy.
Right. But
man, all through the generations, like each Zelda game has just been a knockout almost.
The only bad ones were Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link.
No, that's not a game. No.
When they made it all about Link, it wasn't a very good game. Beyond that were the what were those CD games in the late 80s?
Oh yeah, the like live animation.
That was
Dragon Slayer.
Ones. Those were garbage.
Yeah, what were those called?
Yeah.
Anyway, those don't exist either.
There really hasn't been a miss from Zelda since, and there's been no first party miss by them at all. So, yeah, but no, I've been playing Minish Cap lately.
Is that what that was?
The what?
The great Gianna sisters.
Amiga. It was on the Amiga. Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah, there were two games on the Amiga, and there was one other for one other platform, I want to say.
Did anyone ever play Skyward Sword? Was that good?
Skyward Sword was really good.
Oh, good.
I really like that. Now, I will say I like Twilight Princess better than Skyward Sword.
Twilight Princess was really good.
I really enjoyed Twilight Princess because it wasn't afraid to get dark.
Yeah.
Like, every Zelda game is, like, bright and sparkly, except when Ganon takes over, and then it's dark for a little bit, but there's always, like, bright hope in the world, and all the, like, the grotesque creatures are always like, oh, I'm so happy you came! Yeah. And Twilight Princess was like, on out of here. Yeah. like Twilight Princess got dirty. And I love it for that. But no, Skyward Sword was really good.
Never played that one.
And says, yeah, Skyward Sword only sucked because of the waggle stick, because this was a motion that you had to do in the game.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I never had a Wii, so that was part of it. So.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
Skyward Sword was overshadowed by Twilight Princess and Breath of the Wild. Even before that, Skyward Sword was overshadowed by Wind Waker.
Yeah, Wind Waker was,
which is still
so
among my
solid.
favorites.
Rock solid. Yeah, I played the crap out of Wind Waker. And of course, Majora's Mask is still my favorite. But you know, I've been playing Breath of the Wild because I got a Switch last year, and I'm slow rolling through it, and I'm just doing whatever I feel like. I'm exploring. Right. I'm pursuing side quests.
Mm-hmm. I still haven't beaten Ganon in Breath of the Wild, but I have 120 hours in it.
Yeah,
like on like 3 different game starts, because it's like, I'm a little high level now. I want to go back to the beginning, and as soon as I beat the Great Plateau, like, go west and see what's there.
Yeah, there's just so much, and I'm loving Breath of the Wild. And something about the soundtrack always stuck out to me, and apparently a lot of people hate it. But anybody who's interested in video game soundtracks, go check out the YouTube channel 8-Bit Music Theory. He does a really fantastic breakdown of some of the cool, like, inserted little motifs that he includes and the reasons why the composer does what he does in a few spots. It's so fascinating.
Laura Sai says, Wind Waker, for all the hate it got, at this time is legit a timeless classic. And I fully agree with that.
Did it get hate?
It got a lot of hate, and as Scotty points out, it was all because of the art style. People went, they went cel-shaded. It looks way too cartoony now.
I love cel-shaded.
Do you realize Link is a kid in every single one except Twilight Princess? Like, do you realize he's like 12 in every one except Twilight Princess? And Link and Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link. Like then he's a grown-ass man. But yeah, it got a lot of hate because it's like, it's too cartoony. It can't be serious. Wind Waker was freaking incredible, and is probably in my top 3 easily for Zelda games.
What I enjoyed about the cell shading itself, it felt like less of a distraction, if that makes sense. Like, things were fancy and cool to look at in some ways, and I was always interested to see what different animations might look like. But looking back on it, I really felt like it took the emphasis off of, like, it has to be the best graphics ever. It has to be.
That's one of the things I loved about it, and that's one of the reasons it is kind of a timeless classic. You can still go back and play it on an original GameCube, and it still looks incredible.
Yeah.
Those graphics have not aged a day.
Yeah.
I would still play it on an original GameCube.
You know, but that's like the main selling thing when you look at the indie scene versus the AAA scene. You know, what does the AAA video game scene have to offer over the indie scene? And really, like, most of the time it boils down to graphics and, like, sheer scope, obviously. But, like, you know, like, freaking Stardew Valley has scope, but it doesn't have graphics. You know what I mean? Like, there's lots of games that have scope that don't have graphics. And I think that's the thing. I think that was a smart decision. You know, Nintendo doesn't really make bad decisions with games. Maybe consoles. We could look at the Wii and the Wii U as being questionable. Maybe
the Wii was not a bad decision. The Wii was one of their breadwinners for years. It's the best selling console of all time.
Oh,
yeah.
Well,
yeah. No.
So.
The Wii U, sure, you can say all you want about that, but that was marketing. The Wii U was still a solid console, but it wasn't next gen. It wasn't like the evolution. They should have called it Wii 2. If they would have called it Wii 2, it would have sold 4 times what it did. But they called it Wii U, and people thought, oh, it's an add-on for the Wii. It's a tablet for the Wii. No, it's a completely other console. So yeah.
See, I kind of missed out the whole Wii thing. I did not care about the way that it worked. You know, we had fun playing some games, but
what I will say is, since you're such a fan of LAN parties, we need to get the 4 of us, so you, me, John, and Steve, playing New Super Mario Brothers Wii on a live stream one day, because the entire game, so it's a 4-player game. It's a 4-player 2D platforming game. And you can interact with each other while you're doing the platforming. So it's all 4 players on a single Mario map. But you can pick each other up, and if I pick you up, you have no control, and then I can throw you. And so one of my best memories is me and 3 friends playing 8 hours straight of New Super Mario Brothers Wii. And the whole goal was to throw everyone else off the edge and be the only one to finish, because it was competitive until the point where there's only one person left alive. And then everyone started rooting for that one person who was left.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was incredible.
Don't you find that that's something that you start to miss as the years go on? It's this weird, like this weird capacity that we all had to like make up games or make fun wherever we were.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think about that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really why, you know, I'm glad you brought that game up, because that does sound like a really cool game, because that's exactly kind of what I was looking forward to recreating with my LAN game nights.
Right.
You know, this idea of like, Skull was there. We hopped on UTO4 and we were playing Instagib, Capture the Flag. And I brought back all these memories of these dumb rules we used to shout at the LAN parties. It'd be like, oh, well, you can't do this if this is happening. And everybody just went with it.
You went with the rules, right?
Yeah, you know?
That was the Jedi Knight community. The Dark Forces 2 Jedi Knight community is, no, we don't use that gun. It was the Counter-Strike community. If you're the last person left, you take out a knife, goddammit.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's it. It's
you are shunned if you shoot and it's 1v1.
Yeah.
No, you take out a knife and you die like a man.
And it's still, some of that's still there. You know, it's like, oh, what? You're using an op?
Right.
It's a little less so in the competitive scene, but still in the casual scene, that's still a huge thing. The knife. Oh man, we used to do crazy things in Counter-Strike Source all the time. I remember we would raid servers and you just meet all these random people and you're like, hey, you know what we should do? We should do a conga line right to where the hostages are. And everybody does a conga line to where the hostages are. You just get down and everybody's crouching and like trying to dance. And
Scott, sorry. Scotty just said their naming is definitely uninspired, but somehow still better than Microsoft when it comes to Nintendo.
Yeah. You know, I gotta say though, like I missed the whole Wii thing, but man, has the Switch won me over.
Isn't it good?
How is it?
Well, number one,
good?
You're a new dad.
Yeah, true.
Right.
I need all the dad stuff, including a
cool
Switch.
You need a Switch.
But oh my God, man! Like, you know, I've been having a little bit of a gaming renaissance lately, because it's like, man, I want to play games, but I dropped the competitive thing. Okay, so I played a bunch of one-player games on my PC. I went through everything I wanted to go through. I had a blast.
Played Morrowind 7 times. Okay, I'm good.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And well, then I picked up my Switch and it's like, okay, well, I got some games on here, and I started picking up some new stuff. And man, it's like I went through a bunch of games. You know what really got me? Hyper Light Drifter. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I could not stop playing Hyper Light Drifter. The sound design and the music, which I am like a complete sucker for, so I admit this. When you get to the first boss, the sound design and the music kicks in, and it's this low rumbling sub and all this crazy. Oh my God. I couldn't stop playing after that. I literally would go to work and just fantasize about coming home, putting the kid to bed so I could play Hyper Light Drifter. And I just blasted through it. And I was like, well, what do I play when this is done? I'd never played Hotline Miami, so I went through Hotline Miami 1.
Oh, Hotline Miami is so good.
Not the best controls on the Switch, but I went through them, and it's like, oh man, like, you know.
Have you played My Friend Pablo?
No, but that's so high on my list. Yeah.
That one will get you too.
Yeah. Oh, I love the mechanics of that. Like looking at the videos and the pictures and stuff. It looks so much fun. Then I went through Banner Saga, which a lot of people were knocking. But,
Yeah.
oh my God. Banner Saga was so good. It's like perfect for the Switch because I have it on the PC. I can't sit here and do that. You know, like I can't sit here and it's like, all right, you're scrolling through the map, you're waiting, okay, time to fight. You
Yeah.
blast through okay, you're scrolling through. But man, when you got a handheld, it's like a novel
Right.
with like
No
fights in between.
But between these two handhelds, like, holy crap, my world is so much better now.
Yeah.
And I mean that.
Realize how much
and it's only because I haven't really gotten the GPD2 running the way I want to yet. I'm working on it.
Yeah.
But no, I'm starting to get this guy running where I want, the Retroid 2. And I finally got GBA working like butter smooth. Like,
nice.
Like it's perfect. SNES as well. I got both of those just golden today.
Love it.
Surprisingly, PlayStation 1 is freaking incredible on the Retroid Pocket 2. Like, pixel perfect, looks amazing. So I've been playing like Gran Turismo 2 all day today.
Oh, dude, the best one in the series. I'll fight anyone.
3.
I mean, I'll fight anyone, and I meant
3.
I'll fight anyone.
3.
Okay.
3 is the best of the series.
Okay, it's fine. Yeah.
2 was good. 2 introduced Rally. 3 made it better.
Oh yeah, something magical about those games.
That was fun.
You know, yeah, there's just something, you know, and that's one thing I've really taken from 2020 is starting with okay, you know, obviously I became a dad this year. Everybody knows that. And, you know, things were very challenging with the lockdown and stuff. And so what little time I had to myself was a struggle to figure out how do I maximize my enjoyment. And I started thinking about how things were when I was younger, like when I was in high school. What was it about listening to music so much I loved in high school? What was it about playing video games I loved so much in high school? Because I wasn't really deriving enjoyment from much, you know. Like even like watching shows, fine. But I'd hop on Netflix. I watched the same shows over and over. I watched Friends right up until they took it on Netflix, and then I switched over to HBO. You know, so I started trying to distill down like what it was about these things that was bringing me joy. And I remember the thrill of going to the record store and buying a CD without really knowing what I was getting my hands into.
Right.
So I hopped onto Twitter and I started saying like, hey, somebody recommend me an album and I'll listen to it. I'll write you a review of it. I will listen to it start to finish.
I remember you did that. Yeah.
And people recommended me freaking pure gold albums, even people from Craft Computing in the Discord. Pure gold stuff that I'd never
there are
heard.
some music fans in my channel as well. Oh man.
And
I was a music major in college. I still don't follow the music channel, but we have a music channel in Craft Computing unlike any other.
I think so too. It is so fun in there, and people are super positive. There's no like bashing taste or anything like that. Like, you know, things tend to move in kind of waves. They're talking about this, and they're talking about that genre. They're talking about this, and but it's fun. Like, and some of the recommendations I'm getting, you know, it's like, oh wow, that's going to be my favorite album of the year that I've listened to. Then I get the next recommendation.
Then the next
one. God, it just doesn't end.
Yeah.
And I kind of recaptured that feeling of like going to the record store in a way. You know, it's like I'd look at the album, I'd look at the band name, I'd scroll through the tracks, I try to get a feel for what it is, and I just dive in and listen to it. And it was like trading CDs with your friends when you were in high school.
It's cathartic. It really is. Yeah.
Oh my God. It was so fun. And so then it was the same thing about like video games. Like, what was it about video games well, you know, the first thing that came to mind was I didn't have as many video games when I was in high school as I have now. So the first thing I did is hopped on Steam and I limited my library to 5 games installed. And those were my choices. And all of a sudden I'm blasting through games. You know why? Because I sit down on my computer and I'm not thinking about what I want to play. I'm not agonizing over it. I don't launch something.
As you say that, people probably saw me open my Steam library and it cut onto your monitor.
Oh, did it?
Yeah. I have 813 games in my Steam library. Less than a third I've played. Like I'm one of them.
How many
I'm
do you
one of
have
like
installed right now?
I play Steam like I play Pokemon. Gotta collect them all. So yeah, I have 813 games in my Steam library. I have 10 installed right now.
That's better.
Right.
That's pretty good. But
Now
the same
hold
thing
on.
remains.
You say that's great. You say that's great. How many of these games have I played before? And a lot of them are from my past.
Yeah.
So right now on my Steam, I have installed Chex Quest HD because it was just released for free and I wanted to relive that cereal box CD life. DuckTales Remastered. Final Fantasy IV, which I literally play every single year without fail all the way through. And this is the remake, so the 3D graphics and the full voiceover. I've also got Final Fantasy IV The After Years, which I've only played a couple of times, but this is also the 3D remake of that one. I have GTA 5. I have Gunpoint. I have Guts and Glory installed. Have you played Guts and Glory?
No, but yeah, I feel like you're the type of person that would have Guts and Glory installed.
It is so stupid, yet so much fun. Because it is literally like try to get from point A to point B without dying.
Yeah.
And in a couple of them, it's like, here, take this family sedan with 4 people on board, and we're gonna throw like spinning saw blades and missiles at you. And when you get hit, it is gory. Now it is like cheesy cartoon glory, but it is gory. One of my favorite things was when I was in the Ying's car, which is like a family of 3, but it's a convertible, and there's the 2 parents in front and the little girl in back, and we were going under some saw blades, and the little girl got her head chopped off, but it caught on the trunk, and so from the trunk I was trailing blood the entire rest of the map.
That's crazy.
It was glorious. Yeah, and if you haven't played Gunpoint, go buy Gunpoint.
I don't think I have.
Oh, you haven't played Gunpoint?
Everybody's talking about it in chat right now.
Gunpoint's amazing.
What's Gunpoint? Okay, pitch it to me. Give me the elevator pitch.
Gunpoint is a single player, completely 2D game. Think like SNES generation graphics, so 16-bit. It's got humor in it, but it's you are a contract field agent, and you are armed with a set of like super spring boots, and so you can jump with enough force to break windows and whatnot, but you don't have a gun. And there are security guards in these various buildings trying to kill you, and so it's all 2D, it's all flat plane platformer kind of style.
Okay.
But you can also hack into the electronics of the building and turn off lights or make switches do different things like open and close doors and whatnot. And
fun.
so it's partially making the AI like bend to your will, but also like a little bit of Spider-Man in there with a lot of humor.
Wait a minute. This isn't even on Steam.
It is on Steam. Gunpoint?
I just searched it. No, it's not on Steam.
What? Gunpoint, $1.99. Gunpoint, all one word. All one word.
Okay.
It's $1.99 right now.
All right. I'm buying it.
Go buy it. Because you will enjoy it.
Okay. All right. Purchase for myself. Yep. Agree.
Ooh, the DLCs are on sale too. I'm gonna add those to my cart while we're talking.
I'm gonna start with this one. Novella Hub asks, have I listened to Ne Oblivis Caris yet? I probably butchered the name, but dude, yeah, you recommended Portal of I or Portal of One. I don't know which it is. And holy mother of Lord Jesus, what a great album.
I just bought the expansion pack, so I'm going to play Gunpoint when we're done.
Oh, nice. Good for you. But yeah, Ne Oblivis Caris, wow, like that debut album is just so tight. And, you know, I'm a sucker for like non-traditional metal instruments, and they're like violinists, just like adds so much texture. But Novella Hub, you read my review of that album, so there you go. Somebody asks, what's your most hours on one game?
I'm well over 1,000 into a couple of them.
Patrick Joseph asked that. Yeah, I've got 10,000 hours in Dota 2.
Yeah, you have a lot more than I do in a single game. I'll say that.
But that's because I'm a pathetic loser who is also a sadomasochist.
Your words, not mine.
Why do you think we're friends?
Mm-hmm.
Just kidding. But also, I probably have. I would probably have like 2,000. I don't know, maybe 1,000 to 2,000 hours in Morrowind. That's a really hard one to estimate.
Yeah. There's some of the early games like StarCraft. I have no idea. Because I'm 1,000 plus into StarCraft easily, like 2, 3, maybe 4,000 hours into StarCraft.
Do you remember ever using Xfire to like chat? It was like a chat. It was like
I was an ICQ. Yeah.
So Xfire was kind of interesting because
some of my IRL friends were AIM, and I was ICQ.
Yeah.
So
I still.
Well, I tried not to associate with the AIM people.
What was the one that like Trilio or whatever? Or
Trilio.
Yeah, it like synced all like 3 chat services into one, which is kind of nice.
No. I ran a Trilio server for a while.
Oh, nice. Well, Xfire was kind of unique because you could add games to it in some way, or maybe it detected games, and it would tell people, "Hey, Rhett is playing Jedi Academy right now," and it would track your hours played.
Yeah.
And so, I remember like thinking like how freaking crazy it was when people talking about Xfire in the chat. I remember thinking like my friend needed help when he had 1,000 hours in World of Warcraft.
Yep.
We would like add up like how many days is that, and
what did we all do before Discord? Oh right, and Skull points it out: ICQ, Ventrilo, Mumble, and TeamSpeak.
Yeah, TeamSpeak, Ventrilo.
Yeah, I ran a Ventrilo server for a while. I never got into Mumble, but yeah, ICQ.
Yeah, I use Ventrilo quite a bit.
TeamSpeak. I still own a TeamSpeak 3 license. Like, I can run a server today.
Are we going to?
No, because Discord freaking rules.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like I remember. Shoot. Yeah, we used to play games and stuff, and it's like, what did we used to chat before Discord?
BBS.
Yeah, but before,
but that was my time. That was my time.
I just remember playing Dota, and it's like, okay,
not for you, Rhett.
Get on your team, get in teams. We might have just used Ventrilo early on in those days. Yeah, we did. Yeah, because my brother had a Ventrilo server from when he played Dark Age of Camelot. Oh God.
Oh, Kane.
And so we do that. I forgot all about that. And then Discord, people started with like, hey, you should use this Discord thing. I was like, what's this? You need to realize how amazing it is. Wow, that's a blast from the past thinking about the evolution of that technology. Discord kind of does it all now.
I'm glaring at Skull right now. I want him to know that.
Oh, yeah.
Discord rules until you only come in the left ear.
Who only comes in the left ear?
That's me, because apparently my mixer sometimes confuses mono with stereo.
Oh.
And so it'll go, no, you're only going to go on the left side today.
Okay, but also, hey, maybe that's Skull's fault too.
I'm going to blame
Skull. Just had a set of mono headphones instead
I'm going to blame
stereo headphones.
Yeah.
Who
listens
dork.
to stereo?
You should be doing all your mixes in mono anyways, bro. What are you, even an audiophile? Dork.
I've seen his headphones. No, he's not. Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
Man.
What other roads can we meander on?
I don't know. Well, should we just play Rocket League for 30 minutes?
You know what? One of my last-ditch things was like, I'm just going to start playing like Minish Cap and hook that up to my HDMI and let you guys watch. Mike Jones, BBS were pre-internet bulletin board systems. Yes, I know.
Yeah.
I was on a lot of them.
I think Mike Jones must have been telling me because it's like, what are that? I didn't mean what is that. I just was like, wait a minute, timeline. So anyway, yeah, I think the whole point of that whole conversation was just that's thinking about how I did things as a kid and trying to approach it from that angle has been a real lifesaver this year.
Mm-hmm.
So if some of y'all are struggling finding joy in hobbies that used to occupy you for hours and hours and hours at a time, I suggest that you distill it down to a couple key components and go from there.
I'm up for distilling.
Oh yeah. Distill it down to its key spirits and pour it into a glass over ice, baby.
That's right.
No need to let it age.
Barrel strength. Let it go.
But yeah, even going back, I've been going through the Studio Ghibli catalog. And sitting through some of these movies has reminded me, like, right, it's okay to sit through movie. Yeah, I'm so bad at this anymore. I just get so like choice overwhelmed, if that makes sense. You got back into 4X style games, Jason. You played Stellaris. Good Lord, I couldn't stop playing Stellaris.
Stellaris was good.
I'm a huge fanboy of Crusader Kings 2. Been waiting to pick up CK3. But Crusader Kings 2, I remember like finally getting through that tutorial. And I was like, oh, I get it. And then I took the week off work and just...
Right.
Stellaris is a good one. Giovanni, everyone related to Wonder Woman? Related? So everyone related? I don't know what related means. I saw it. I thought it was fine. I'm prepared to plant my feet down. One of the things I did when people were recommending me albums to listen to is that I promised that my reviews would not be negative reviews. Promised that I would focus on all the good things.
Yeah.
And I've taken that into with me to watching movies. And there's a lot of people that bashing on Wonder Woman right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I won't get into spoilers because it just dropped on HBO this week. But I really enjoyed it. Pedro Pascal is legit. I don't really care for Gal Gadot all that much, but she was fine. And what?
Sorry. In the chat, there's some people going a little crazy.
In Talking Heads or on the YouTube chat?
On the YouTube chat.
Oh,
I'm not gonna name names, but
okay.
But Mike, I'm laughing. Mike, I'm laughing. By the way, we allowed that one to go through.
I didn't read that. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, no, there were like 3 or 4 comments in a row that I just like, that's funny. Okay, that's really funny. It just went.
Oh, anyway, Wonder Woman's great.
Yep.
Or it's good.
We got a half hour to kill still.
What do you want to talk about?
I don't know.
Should we enter into my routine Morrowind rant?
We could go Star Trek. We haven't talked Star Trek in a while, like in-depth Star Trek.
Somehow I've got a group text going on with some of my friends from high school, and somehow the episode of The Twilight Zone came up. The monsters are due on Maybury Street.
Okay.
Do you remember that one?
Vaguely.
It's kind of okay. So the synopsis is there's weird stuff going down on their street in their neighborhood, and they quickly begin to blame each other, and they descend into chaos. And then at the very end, they're like,
it's the Family Guy pancakes episode.
I don't remember that one. Sorry.
Stewie gets addicted to pancakes, and they all start obsessing about the trophy for the Founders Day parade, and the whole neighborhood descends into chaos.
Yeah, part of me is willing to just nod along and be like, yeah, that one.
Yeah, that one. It's that one. Trust me. There's parallels.
There's like a Fallout 3 mission that matches it too.
Uh-huh.
But
Are
anyway,
you my dad?
Oh, Fallout 3.
Fallout 3. Yeah.
I totally get it.
Right.
That game didn't come out 12 years ago.
No. Wait,
Um,
what?
But anyway, somehow by
Don't
talking
scare
about
me like that.
how Twilight Zone episodes had these really great like moral lessons at the end of each one, I really started hammering home on Star Trek episodes that had great moral lessons, and really brought me back to 2016, well, specifically 2017, where all of a sudden politics was like really tying into like, oh, this episode, like the
Right.
drumhead, which is like one of my favorites. Like
Yeah.
I was getting my wife to watch all of Star Trek Next Generation, and we got to like what is that, season 4? And it was like, oh my God, season 4 is just slam dunk episode after slam dunk episode, one after another.
Season 4 is freaking incredible.
It's gold standard episodes
Right.
nonstop throughout the whole dang thing. Starting with, right, season 4 opens with family, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe it's best or not. Yeah, best of both worlds. No, what? It opens with the closure to the Borg stuff. Then
Right.
you get family, which is episode 2, where Picard goes home.
Yeah, it's Locutus coming back, and now he's Picard with some weird lines, and then they're gone the next episode.
Yeah,
because it's like, no, I'm not getting into makeup every goddamn show from here on out.
But also, like, time has passed. It's space. You know what I mean? Like, a guy lived as a freaking transporter signal for 100 years. So,
wait, was that Scotty or Riker?
I was thinking Scotty, but
Scotty.
Both.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, like, Thomas.
Dude. And that's another great episode, though, in a way. Like, it's so cheesy, but like they deliver it through technology that's like so plausible through the rules that they already established.
Right.
Like,
there is logic in the writing, believe it or not. At least there was back in that day.
Yeah. Yeah, man. There's just something like, and I got to the point where I've watched TNG so much where sometimes I watch it and it's like, it feels like theater where like, that you're watching Patrick Stewart playing this role and that he has to deliver a speech.
Right.
About like the morals and ethics of like what's going on.
Right.
And those episodes are so good, It's like the Drumhead was one of those.
So can I just say, I've been on a little bit of a DS9 binge lately. And
yeah, everybody on Twitter has been too.
I know. What's funny is mine was completely independent of Twitter, but then I found out everyone else was binging DS9. It's like, oh, that's freaking great.
Yeah.
So the other day, Christmas morning, actually, I sat down and I watched Into the Pale Moonlight because it's one of my favorite episodes ever. And it's Sisko in his log, talking about the past 2 weeks of events in which he murdered a bunch of people to bring the Romulans into the war. And I don't mean like he murdered them, but he goes, yeah, they can die. That's okay. And in that process, he's also betrayed and more people are killed. And then he gets mad at Garrick and Garrick's like, it's what you wanted. You wanted me to get dirty, which is why you came to me. So I got dirty and you're mad at me? And Sisko goes, no. And it's freaking amazing.
So good.
That episode is so good.
So many arcs in DS9 that are just top tier.
Yeah.
The problem with DS9 is that it takes, well, I mean, Next Generation has the same problem. Like the first season is just not that good.
Yeah. I will say DS9 hit its stride a lot earlier than TNG did. TNG, you were halfway into season 3 before it's like, I can watch every episode from here on out. Yeah. Maybe skip the one where Crusher bangs a ghost.
I feel like season 3 is pretty solid. Like, but I also really enjoyed season 2. Like when you get Dr. Pulaski.
Pulaski?
I love Dr. Pulaski.
Not my cup of tea.
Yeah, but like when you're not watching,
she doesn't fill my Earl Grey.
When you're not watching it in order, you don't mind her. Like when you're watching the syndicated episodes coming across you at cable, or
I can see that point of view where you don't mind her, like sprinkled in.
Yeah,
but when it was an entire season, and that's usually how I try to watch Star Trek, is I'll watch a season at a time.
Yeah.
It's a little much.
I would have been happier if Pulaski.
We went straight from Pulaski to Jellicoe, and it was like, it's a little campy for me.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I think that if we had gotten Pulaski for a whole season, like later on, after getting more Crusher, it would have been better. But I think it was just like I think it just confused the start of the show.
Well, wasn't season 3 like the Troy and Crusher doing gymnastics and yoga suits? Like that was the intro to season 3 kind of thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Crusher's back. We have 2 girls on the show.
Yeah, because we lost Yar.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point.
Had to be done.
But somebody says, isn't Captain's Holiday my favorite episode? And I don't know if I ever said that on the show, but yeah, it's one of my favorites. It's one of my go-to like nap time Star Trek episodes. You know, it's
okay.
Like,
I'm gonna put you on full screen for like 2 seconds. So just talk.
What are we talking?
Whatever
about?
point you were making, just talk.
Well, I was just talking about Captain's Holiday, which is a really good episode where Captain Picard realizes that he needs to relax, and so he goes to the planet Risa. But he doesn't relax. No, he gets into some archaeological shenanigans. He uses his knowledge of ancient artifacts in order to assist a black market dig or something. I don't know. Maybe it was my favorite episode once upon a time. Don't feel like that way now, but it is absolutely one of my go-tos. Right now I'm feeling like my favorite episode is like, I don't know. I always say The Inner Light. The Inner Light is kind of a cheesy one to say is your favorite, you know?
Yeah.
So
it's like, oh yeah, I like The Inner Light.
Yeah, everybody likes The Inner Light. It's freaking good. You know which one like really struck good with me recently was the one, I can't remember what it's called, where Miles O'Brien's old captain comes back and he's like trying to wage war on the Romulans.
That is such a good one.
And Miles like doesn't really know what to do, so he helps him out. And Picard has a really good speech at the end. He says like, look, this is a man who was at war, and he's like, we can pity him, we can sympathize with him, but we shall never, ever dismiss him. I was like, oh, what a great line, because like this guy was dismissed by everybody in Starfleet, and it led to him doing this crazy thing where he's like waging war on the Romulans by himself.
Right.
Such a great episode. Yeah,
that episode is so great because it has a Cardassian asking O'Brien, do you hate us? And he goes, no, I don't hate you. I hate you for I hate myself for what you made me become.
Yeah.
And they explore that more in DS9. So they explore that same arc, and it's like, oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. Yeah, Cardassians. I kept saying Romulans, but I meant Cardassians, so thank you. Yeah, that's a really good one. And then is that the same episode? Maybe it's not. But where Picard just like flat out calls him out, and he's like, yeah, you guys were tempting war. This was what's going on. And he says, tell your leaders, Gulmaset, we'll be watching. And that's how the episode ends. Like, so good. What a great line. I wish I could remember what episode that is off the top of my head. But somebody asked what episode is Inner Light. Inner Light is the episode where Picard gets zapped with a beam and he wakes up in another man's life on the planet Catan, or Catan, and he
was a settler, right?
Yeah, exactly. He was a settler. He married to a woman. He has children. He plays the flute, and he's like an astronomer. And the guy from Office Space is in it. One of the guys from Office Space is in that. Can't remember that actor's name.
What is it do you do here exactly?
Yeah. And and he wakes up and he gets the flute, and his whole life has changed because he lived an entire life in one episode.
Yeah.
It's a really, really good one. Lots of shows do that trope now, I know.
So Novella Hub asked, you guys a fan of Voyager, the Voyager episode In the Blink of an Eye? I literally just pulled that up on Memory Alpha. I don't remember this episode at all.
Unfortunately, Voyager has
not
a lot
at all
of those that are like great episodes that you don't remember.
Like and don't get me wrong, I really like Voyager.
Yeah.
I like all of the mid 90s, Star Trek shows. I love all of them. But this one, I'm trying to remember it, and I don't. It's not there.
Are there any Doctor Who fans out here? You a Doctor Who fan, Jeff?
Not really.
Oh, that's a real bummer.
I have enough of my own fandom to not give any more out.
It's a real bummer.
Yeah. I have friends who are Doctor Who fans.
Yeah, you do. One's right here.
Yeah.
I was just curious. The episode Blink of an Eye reminded me of.
You haven't been over to my house in how long?
It's been, several months.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, speaking of which, it's crazy to think is so it's been like a year since you moved into your house now.
Mm-hmm.
Also,
and it's been 9 months since we've seen each other.
Yeah, it's been a long time. But what blew me away was that I put this box away and I kind of stashed it on top of my kid's dresser. I was looking at it the other day and I was like, I remember that box being important. What is it? And I open it up. It's like handmade clothes with this beautiful design on it. I was like, oh God, I'm so glad that I remember that this is here. Like it's in plain sight, but it's in this box.
Yeah.
And your wife made an outfit for my kid when he was born that fits him at a year old, which he will be here shortly. So I was just like, oh, I'm so happy to have pulled this out.
My wife is such a great seamstress.
Dude,
she's incredible.
The clothes are so good.
She made both of my daughters some dragons for Christmas. And they are weighted like pillows that will sit over the top of your neck, but they still sit with their head up like this. Nope. And my oldest daughter, she got one with a heated rice packet in it. So you can put the rice packet in the microwave and then heat it up and then like lay it over your neck with the dragon on top of it. And put the heated pack is in the dragon's belly. And it's freaking incredible. That's awesome. I'm gonna see if I can like steal one of these days, but neither one of them will let them go. It's like no, they're sleeping with me tonight.
I love that. That's so great. Yeah, man, I'm excited. We'll send you some pictures when we get them in these in that outfit.
Yeah. Shout out to the producer of Craft Computing. Yeah, no, I will send that shout out along because she's incredible.
For real. Drake here, super chat says, "Can I get a shout out for my wife? It's the big 30." And yes, Rhett, we do love Doctor Who. That's good. Hey, shout out to fellow big 30s in December. Hey,
yeah.
Heck of a year to turn a significant age. I'll tell you all that much. I spent my 30th playing Hades.
Well, you were born in the 90s. What did you expect out of this year?
Yeah, true. Come full circle.
We wouldn't have ended this way.
Oh, Lord. But yeah, Doctor Who's great. The only reason I brought up Doctor Who, Drake, and I will save this for you since you super chatted, is because somebody mentioned...
I like that the word who in there is the only thing that distinguishes that sentence from the only reason I bring up Dr. Drake.
Dr. Drake.
Doctor Who Drake.
That's true.
Doctor Who? Oh, Drake. Right.
Dr. Drake Ramore from Days of Our Lives. The Doctor Who episode Blink with when David Tennant was the Doctor. Holy moly. Like, what a fantastic, wild episode that was. And the Doctor's barely in it. That one, Jeff, I would highly recommend to Star Trek fans because it is like time travel loop of the highest caliber. It's like Rick and Morty. It's like Star Trek level time travel loop. It is written by the writer who went on to revive Sherlock, the BBC Sherlock.
Yeah.
Blink is so good. Yeah. Anyway, that's all I have to say about that. Another super chat here from Bazinga.
Trader talking about Star Trek wearing a Star Wars shirt. That is totally a Mandalorian shirt.
Yeah, it is.
Yep.
Grogu's on it.
Do I have my Mandalorians up there? I do. You can't see them, but I bought off AliExpress a set of Mandalorian minifigs for Lego, and they're amazing. They're like
Nice.
freaking awesome. I smile every time I look at them.
Nice. Yeah. The Mandalorian is top tier Star Wars. Look, what is there to be a traitor about, Bazinga? I loved Star Wars first, but who's to say that without Star Wars I wouldn't have ever loved Star Trek? Like, I don't. They're not the same thing to me, and I love them for different reasons, and I love them equally in different ways. Like, Star Trek gives me a lot of like hope and compassion and thought about real life, and Star Wars is like, it's this awesome, fantastic story about a place that has no bearing on my life. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I love them both, but Mandalorian, yeah, top MFing tier Star Wars. Holy moly, this season was so good, so enjoyable.
I'm just getting into Mandalorian. Like, I watched episode 1 the other day. And so don't spoil anything, but I am definitely looking forward to like binging over the next 4 days.
Oh yeah, yeah. Let us
Yeah.
know in the Battle Bridge what you're thinking as you watch it. I guess I don't know if ever all the mods have watched it or not, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. Just comparing it to other Star Wars. I mean, I was so happy to have these bite-sized little things, and it really takes me back to the days of like when I really, really enjoyed watching Clone Wars and things like that, and just get these little individual episodic stories, and
Yeah.
so fun, so fun.
Mandalorian is Samurai Jack with lightsabers.
Yeah, I mean, people made the comparison right away that it has that Western samurai vibe.
Yes.
Lone wolf and
Well, the
pup.
thing is, Star Wars is the original Star Wars was seen with that Western / samurai vibe.
Yeah.
That's how George Lucas wrote it. And somewhere along the way, that kind of got lost. And Mandalorian, even in the first episode that I've watched, is a very pleasant return to that.
Yeah.
You got a little bit of it in Rogue One, you got a little bit of it in Solo, but that's really it for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
And so,
for sure. God, I watched Phantom Menace the other day, and
how was that political drama with some pod racing scenes?
Dude, the pod racing scenes were so good.
they were epic, but the rest of it was just West Wing.
Hey, I don't mind. I love West Wing.
West Wing was great too. Like, don't get me wrong. But
I was gonna say, like, with all there's a lot of talk right now. Like, The Last Jedi is having a huge resurgence of conversation on Twitter because when Last Jedi came out, Twitter hated it, and Rise of Skywalker came out, and it was kind of like the opposite. The people that liked Last Jedi did not like Rise. The people that hated Last Jedi loved Rise. But Last Jedi is kind of getting a resurgence of talk because of The Mandalorian and things like this.
Yeah, because I'm not going to say it, but I know someone's back.
Sorry you've been spoiled, bro. But yeah.
I almost spoiled it. I know I got a syllable in there, but yeah.
No, it's really good. And so I decided, like, people are just talking about how they rank their favorite Star Wars. And I've always liked the prequels. I've always defended the prequels. I came up of an age, like, I'm a prequel apologist.
Of course,
you know what I mean? Like,
no.
Well, it's my generation. Star Wars.
I will say about the prequels. Number one, I do think they get a bad rap. Number two, I also don't think they are up to the writing quality that the original Star Wars was, especially when it comes to the way they're presented on camera. I think the story is great.
Yeah, there's a lot there that is good, but
the way they tell that story,
it's really
is not necessary.
It's really left to the viewer to write off a lot of things. And
yes,
and it's hard to do, but isn't that always been Star Wars in a way? Like, don't get me wrong, I love Star Wars, but boy, howdy, isn't episode 4 a pretty bad movie, all things considered? Like, I love it, and I enjoy watching it.
Here's the deal: is when episode 4 came out, it was
It was
heralded.
revolutionary.
It was great. And it was great in multiple facets. It told a fantastic story. It put a nice bow on it at the end. You had great characters that you wanted to see more of, and the technological ability of that movie was off the charts.
Oh, for sure.
When The Empire Strikes Back came into theaters, it was lambasted by critics. And the reason being was because we've never seen the bad guy win before.
Yeah.
It left us in a dark place. Like Luke got his hand cut off and half of the other people are dead.
Lost his lightsaber.
Yeah. Right. Like it was like what the hell is this crap?
Yeah.
And then Return of the Jedi kind of redeemed it, and they're like, it was great. The teddy bears I could have done without, but Return of the Jedi was great. It told a great story.
Amazing? Isn't that amazing how Empire was able to do those sorts of things and then later be redeemed?
Right.
Because, and I will say this on record, and I'm not here to start fights about anything. If you loved Rise of Skywalker, great. Like that's fantastic. I will say more Star Wars is better than no Star Wars all day long. But like Last Jedi took so many chances to tell a story that would be redeemed by the follow-up. And the follow-up spent all of its time undoing the perceived mistakes of Last Jedi.
Yeah.
It was like, I tried to rewatch Rise recently, and I was like, there are no stakes in this movie.
No.
Like, they try to tell you, they're like, this character died. Psych! This character died.
Psych! Right.
There are zero stakes.
That's my biggest problem with the new trilogy, with 7, 8, 9, is, number one, the lack of an overbinding story. Because at least with the original trilogy and with the prequel trilogy, you got, this is the bad guy, this is the good guy, we know the good guy will eventually win, but how do we get there? That's the path.
Yeah.
And with 7, 8, 9, they went, oh no, the darkness is rising. There's Emperor Snoke. What are we going to do about... Oh, wait, he's dead. 10 minutes into the second episode. Okay, well, who's the new bad guy? Oh, it's the bad guy from the last one. What? Yeah, it's the bad guy from the last one. He found this weird temple in the Sith planet from where the Sith come from. The Sith don't have a planet. No, the Sith have a planet.
Well,
and
again, like that's what's weird is like, we're expected to... This is my biggest problem with the prequel. People say like, well, this stuff didn't happen on camera, blah, 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 blah. It's like, but that's always been Star Wars. That's happened between New Hope and Empire. That happened between
Blue
Empire
Pants
and
Guy
Return.
is an action figure.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how deep Star Wars fandom goes.
Oh my God. Like the bounty hunters all had names that were never mentioned in the film.
Right. Bosk had a whole backstory of how he wound up on that Super Star Destroyer talking to Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Bosk.
Exactly.
Do you know who Bosk is?
Yeah,
I do.
We've all seen Robot Chicken. He's the best of the bounty hunters.
Ooh, IG-88.
IG-88's fine. Actually, I mean, if we're talking toys,
is that what we're going to do tonight? We're going to fight?
I always liked IG-88 more. But Bosk was pretty cool. And
Bosk was pretty cool, but I'll take IG-88. Okay. Bazinga sends a $5 donation. Let's chat, or let's start a chat war. Data or Spock, Kirk or Picard?
It's very clearly, I've already said, anybody who disagrees with me is banned. It's Data and Picard.
Data and Picard.
Case closed.
That's an easy one. That's an
Go
easy
ahead
question.
And say anything else in chat for an insta permaban.
It's an easy question. Yeah. Data is objectively better than Spock. Picard is objectively better than Kirk.
Yeah, 100%. So if we had a TNG reboot like we had...
I don't say that Kirk doesn't deserve his own statue, but Picard deserves his own monument. But the difference is, Picard's not dead yet.
If we got a TNG reboot like we got Star Trek 09, who would play Picard?
It'd have to be McAvoy.
Right? I know. Isn't that kind of funny?
Right. It would have to be.
He does pretty good in X-Men, so.
Right. Like I can't imagine anyone else.
Who would play Data?
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's one I rack my brain over a lot. Like, it gets a lot harder when you start imagining like who would play Riker, who would play Data, who would be.
No, hold on. Do you know the new James Bond films, Spectre and those ones? Who plays Q in those ones?
Oh yeah,
What's his name?
I don't know that guy's name.
He could play Data.
But
because he could deadpan anything and be great at it. I think he could play a young Data.
Ben Whishaw.
Yeah.
Okay. I've never heard his name before, so I don't know why I thought I would know it. Yeah, I could kind of see that.
That's who I think could be Brent Spiner.
God, you know who kind of does it in Sherlock is Benedict Cumberbatch.
He
kind of does the deadpan sort of thing.
No, I think the other guy can do it better. I really do.
You might be right.
And Benedict Cumberbatch already exists in Star Trek lore as Khan Light.
Yeah, but that's in the Kelvin universe.
That's in the Kelvin universe. You're correct.
They're going to start another timeline for TNG.
They'd better.
You know,
because they ruined the Kelvin universe. They had the perfect excuse to write their own story, and then they went right back to canon, and it's like, why the hell did you do that? You just shoehorned yourself.
I thought the Khan storyline was okay.
It wasn't good.
It was great, actually.
It just roll-flopped Kirk and Spock and turned one into the other, and it wasn't good because you had a Kirk who was even more brash than the original Kirk, and I loved it. And then you got this, like, I'm so sorry, you're all gonna die, Kirk, which just didn't fit. It didn't fit the guy that drove the Corvette off the cliff in Iowa and didn't give two craps.
That's because there's no cliffs in Iowa. That scene was full of crap. There's no cliffs in Iowa.
There was a large quarry. They found a layer of dilithium that was previously undiscovered because it's an element that we didn't know about.
Okay, that's...
Fact check me. Go ahead.
Are there cliffs in Iowa? Okay, fine. The top Google search says, out-of-staters have the impression that Iowa is all flatlands and cornfields, but they're wrong. Dazzling 300-foot tall bluffs to rolling
300 foot? I have a great story. Cliffs. I have a great story. So my wife, most of her family is from Kansas. And so think of Kansas, get it in your brain. Okay. It should be easy because it's only one line, right?
Yeah. Right.
Her cousin visited us years and years and years ago. And they're driving through Oregon City. And if anyone's ever been on Highway 99E through Oregon City, you look up and Oregon City is steep. It's really steep. And they're driving through on the way back from the Portland airport. And her cousin looks up at this massive thing before her and says, "Wow, what mountain is that?" That's 2nd Street. It doesn't have a name because it's not over 1,000 feet.
Yeah.
But yeah, so when you talk like Oregon, it's like, no. Hood is a mountain. The Sisters are mountains. Mackenzie is a mountain.
Rule that it has to have snow on it to be a mountain.
Right. Oregon doesn't, well, we'd still name them, but you don't know the names because they're only 1,500 feet. Like, right. It's weird.
Hood is a strange one because it really is,
like Eugene has Mount Pisgah, but no one thinks of it as a mountain.
Right. Yeah.
It's just 1,700 feet tall. It's not a mountain. It's technically a mountain, but no one here thinks it's a mountain.
I think Hood gets an interesting rep because of its
Mount Hood is glorious.
Well, it's very prolific. Like, you know, yes. the same reason that like Mount Fuji in Japan is so well renowned is because you're looking at the horizon and there is a mountain.
And there's one that's just bigger than everything else, and that's Mount Hood. I will say that a lot of the east to west flights that come into Eugene, they will parallel Mount Hood for a good length of that. And I've even come in my approach runs into Portland, where you're underneath the peak of Mount Hood and you're looking at the side of it. And there is not a more beautiful sight than I have ever seen. Like I've had 2 daughters, and I still weep at that. I hope they're watching too. When does a rock become a stone, or vice versa? I think a rock is a stone and a stone is a rock. However, a hill is not a mountain, because there are geographical limits that you have to hit before one becomes the other.
Yeah. Well, and I'd say a stone is more likely what you would find at the bottom of a river. You know,
a rock is something that hasn't been eroded.
Right.
A stone is something that is smooth.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
I'd agree with that. I'm not a geologist. My sister is trying to become one, so I'll ask her. What's the difference between a stone and a rock?
Yeah.
I'll ask her next time I see her.
One has its own genre of music.
Mm-hmm.
Rock and roll.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, interesting. It's a good question.
Cosworth says, it is interesting being snowboarding and looking down at airliners. Yes, the lifts go above the airline approach vector. It's crazy. I've been on 3 of them now coming into Portland, where we have been below the peak of Mount Hood, and it's a crazy sight. There's few like it, I will say.
Wow, yeah. How did we get onto that topic?
I don't know. But we're there. And it's 10:07.
10:07. We're
so
closing in on the new year, Jeff.
We are. We're within 26 hours of it. May this year be dead and buried.
Forever.
I would fully agree with that.
Jack Daniels, I know stoner music's a thing. I was just hoping no one else knew it.
Yeah, stoner music's a thing as opposed to rock music. I prefer a little Norah Jones when I'm, What?
Nothing's wrong with Norah Jones. Why
Nothing's wrong with Norah. I
joke?
love Norah Jones.
Yeah.
By the way, if you need a YouTube channel to follow right now, it's freaking Norah Jones, because she posts 4 shows a week where she's just jamming on her piano. And it's incredible.
Nice.
Like if you have not been on Norah Jones' YouTube page, you have not lived yet. And all she names it is like November 7th.
Why not? She's Norah
and
Jones.
She's just there rocking on her piano. I mean, if you haven't heard her sing Black Hole Sun in concert after the death of what was his name? The original artist.
Me on the spot.
Yeah. I'm drawing a blank too, but Black Hole Sun. She did a rendition of Black Hole Sun like on the spot that will bring you to tears. And my God, if there's not if you don't subscribe to my YouTube channel and drop this video a like, go over to Norah Jones and drop her a like and freaking subscribe, because she's incredible and deserves every bit of it.
All right. Chris Cornell, thank Jesus Christ, somebody said something.
Chris Cornell, thank you. Yeah, 2018, I think that was. Yeah, Chris Cornell. No, she did, where was that concert at even? I don't remember, but no, she did just a piano and her of Black Hole Sun, and it's probably one of the most incredible pieces of music you will ever listen to. So, anyway, on that note,
all right, I just subscribed though, so there.
Postmodern Jukebox just did a phenomenal rendition of Black Hole Sun. I need to watch that one, because Postmodern Jukebox is another one that's like just phenomenal. So subscribe to me, but also go subscribe to Norah Jones and Postmodern Jukebox. Seriously, do all 3. But drop this video a like on your way there. I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, do that.
Make sure to look me up on Floatplane or Patreon, whichever fits your lifestyle.
Whatever floats your plane.
Whatever floats your plane. I like that. Get access to the Discord server. Chat with myself, Rhett, John, Steve, all the toast.
Hey,
we did talk egg makers earlier. Sorry, it's on my brain. Talk with all the hosts from Talking Heads all through the week and take part of the ever-growing community over there. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Rhett, anything to plug for Game Devs Quest coming up?
Nothing coming up. But if you want to follow my my game development podcast, we're called Game Devs Quest. You can do so by going to gamedevsquest.com. We have a Discord group too, pretty lively. Not the same beast as Craft Computing by any means.
It started as something different though. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Remember when you had little old me on your podcast?
I do remember that.
Oh.
Still one of my favorite episodes we've done.
It was great. I'd love to come back.
You guys should go listen to that episode. Go find Jeff on my podcast.
That's right. I wasn't even Jeff from Craft Computing. I was just freaking Jeff at that point.
Yeah, Jeff the VR studio guy.
Jeff the VR guy.
Yeah, that was a really fun episode. We talked about VR. We did like 2 episodes worth of talking, and I mean, it is 2 episodes, but we did a lot of talking. We it
was like 2 hours long. It was crazy.
Yeah, I brought my friend Taylor down to play some VR for the first time, and yeah, we had a lot of fun. That's where me and Jeff hit it off. So go find that. You can find the links to our podcast, gamedevsquest.com. It'll take you to our host site, or you can go to wherever you get your podcast and just go or just search for Game Devs Quest, Jeff Solium, and go from there. Otherwise, yeah, we don't got anything coming up, but go ahead and check that all out.
Yeah.
And you can hit me up on Twitter at RedIsAwesome.
That's right. Rhett is awesome. Just remember that, but without the H.
Yeah, no H.
RETT is awesome.
Yes. They were like, can't be bothered with an H, can't be bothered with a B. So here you go, kid. Good luck.
Yeah, welcome back to Craft Computing. I'm just Jeff.
I'm just Red without an H.
Yep, I'm just Jeff. Yeah, there was a time when I was just Jeff. That's weird, right? Anyway, thank you so much for watching this episode 164 of Craft Computing Talking Heads. Thank you so much for joining us. Catch us on the replay at anchor.fm or wherever your favorite podcasts are found. Join us every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Pacific time for the latest in beer and tech news. And like always, we'll be back next Wednesday.
Cheers, y'all.
Cheers, everyone.